Hey guys, NESComplex here. On this third and final part of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo coverage, we're going to talk about a punk playing hacky sack, cosplayers, and I'm going to show you everything I got at the show. So that Sunday morning I wasn't feeling that great, but there was a show floor full of games and I was determined to squeeze a few more games into my already bulging at the seams backpack. A little while later, Pat the NES Punk was going to be doing his Play the Punk challenge, where he would challenge anybody who wanted to, give it a shot, and if that person could beat him at a random game, they would win a prize. It was a pretty cool idea, and there were some pretty cool prizes given away, so it was a good time. So I went back to the show floor, and for the first time ever, people recognized me. And that was a crazy experience to meet people who knew who I was. But it was great. I got to chat with them for quite a while. I met with Dr. Reaper Zero, Cam Man Jason, and with Dynasty Warrior 6 from YouTube. I saw some cosplayers while I was there. But time was winding down. My flight was going to be leaving in just a few hours, and it was almost time for me to get out of there. So I realized that my flight was going to be leaving fairly soon and I had to get over there so I could check in time. So I hopped on the train, and after a little while I realized the train didn't seem to be going where it was supposed to be. And that's because I misunderstood their train system and I was actually on the wrong line. There's different colors. I was on the wrong color line. So I was heading the wrong way. Thankfully, I was able to hop on the reverse train, go back a few exits, and then get on the right train and go toward the airport. But my life flashed before my eyes. So the first stuff I'm going to show you is all the magazines and player's guides. These were all $1 each. So I picked up Jet Force Gemini player guide. One of the last Nintendo Powers I needed was issue 123, so I have 1 through 171 and just a few gaps other than that now. Pokemon Snap player's guide. A couple of issues of Nintendo Power Advance. When the Game Boy Advance came out. I think there were only 4 issues of this released, and I think I'm only missing one of them now. Star Wars Rogue Squadron, GoldenEye 007. I got the Game Boy Nintendo Player's Guide, similar to the NES Player's Guide, and the Super NES Player's Guide. So all of those magazines were about $1 each, so some great things there. So I picked up Bart vs. the Space Mutants and Rampage, the classic building smashing game. Clu Clu Land, which I had only played before on Animal Crossing, but I really enjoyed it, and I hadn't seen it around much ever in my exploring the world for games out in the wild. But I really like the simplistic gameplay of these early black box games, and Clu Clu Land I think is pretty fun. I got Ninja Crusaders. I'm a sucker for ninja games, so anytime I see anything ninja related, I think there's just something about the 80s and 90s, early 90s, and ninjas. Seems like everything was about the ninjas back then. Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Oh boy. A weird environmental show. This blue guy turned into a video game. Is it fun? I actually don't know yet. But now the power is mine. Power Punch 2, which some of you may know, but this is a sequel, unofficial sequel to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! It's the same developers who made Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but when Nintendo saw what they were doing with this, they wanted nothing to do with it. So they backed away from it. They didn't want to put Nintendo on it anywhere, but it was released anyway. It's a pretty crappy game. And we all have probably heard about the crappiness of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is not a very fun game, but it's, you know, just something that I'd like to play one time for myself. And it was very cheap. I think I paid $1 for it, so why not? 3 games that I was really looking forward to, though. One that I just talked about recently is Scat. This is a 2-player side-scrolling, somewhere between Contra and Section Z. It's a pretty cool game, and I really enjoy this gameplay and the style of the game. It's a great game. Gremlins 2, the new batch, which when I was a kid I had the Game Boy version, which was horrible. I never could get anywhere on it. I always seemed to die about level 1 or 2, level 2 maybe. It was not very fun, but I've heard great things about this. I've seen some great reviews about it on YouTube, so I'm looking forward to giving this one a try. And Kickle Cubicle, which again, a nice puzzle game. You're making blocks of ice and you're trying to fill in gaps in order to get across gaps to get to the goal of each stage. It's a pretty interesting idea, concept for a game, and I really enjoy it myself. Now I picked up some instruction manuals as well. I wish that I could find more instruction manuals. They really are, even though, I mean, they don't, just like boxes, they don't really improve the game themselves, but for the nostalgic value and the memory of when you would get a new game and you look through the booklets and flip through them, there's something really cool about it. So to find these booklets was really awesome. So I got Ninja Gaiden 1 and Blaster Master, a really great classic that, you know, is pretty challenging, but it's really fun and diverse gameplay. Another one that a lot of people don't hear about is Vice Project Doom. That's a fun side-scrolling shooting kind of game. Ninja Gaiden 2 and Dracula's Curse. I also found, actually I caught Jay slipping on this one, but I had the game but I didn't have the booklet, but Conker's Bad Fur Day. I think I paid $3 for this, but that's okay. I mean, Conker's Bad Fur Day is an amazing game, and so to have the booklet to get a little bit more of it, of the game, is pretty cool. I also found one TurboGrafx-16 game. It's funny, Classic Gaming Expo was smaller, but Portland Retro Gaming Expo had way less TurboGrafx games. I hardly saw any, and the ones I did see got bought up very quickly, so I missed out on them. But one game I had been looking for is Dungeon Explorer, and so I found that. This is a bit like Gauntlet from what I understand, but I haven't got a chance to try it yet, but I really enjoy Gauntlet's gameplay style, and I've heard good things about Dungeon Explorer, so I'm looking forward to giving that one a shot. For the Super Nintendo, I only picked up 3 games. I'm constantly looking for games for Super Nintendo, but so far at these gaming expos, I've been pretty much out of luck for the things I'm looking for. I did find Tin Star, King of Dragons, which is a Capcom game, I guess sort of like a Golden Axe. It's a side-scrolling co-op beat 'em up, I guess you'd call it, but it's set in a fantasy world. It's a good game. I really enjoy this game. And then there was another booth there that had reproduction carts, and so I bought Terranigma, which is the sequel to Soul Blazer and Illusion of Gaia. I haven't got to play this yet, but I like Soul Blazer and Illusion of Gaia, so this one's got to be amazing as well. Now, the last things that I got, I had just recently picked up a Sega Genesis, and at this point I don't have very many games, and so I was cruising around the show floor and I was asking other people what should I get, because I'm really clueless about the Genesis. And Metal Jesus Rocks was there, and he took me around and he showed me a few games, and he said, you gotta get these, and so I did. The first one is Strider, which I played it, I enjoy it. I know maybe I'm backward and weird for saying this, but it might be for nostalgic reasons. I personally enjoy the NES version better. Maybe that's because that's what I'm used to, but I know that I've seen some people put this as their best favorite Genesis game on the entire system. So I'm not saying it's not fun. It's definitely fun, and I love swinging that massive blade with that big old blur of light as you attack. It's a great little, fun little game. Thunder Force 2, Metal Jesus recommended the Thunder Force series. Now I didn't see Thunder Force 3 there, but Thunder Force 2, and man, I have to say, this is a really interesting gameplay style. I've really enjoyed what I've played of it so far. Championship RC Pro-Am. Now I first heard about this through Mamecade's channel. I guess Vintage Video Game Geek had sent him a copy of this, and so I love RC Pro-Am for the NES, and I had to give this a shot. It's very much like RC Pro-Am for the NES, but with the 16-bit sensibilities. So if you like RC Pro-Am, then you can't go wrong with Championship Pro-Am on the Sega Genesis. I got Castlevania Bloodlines, which, like I said, after getting this, Belmont's Revenge was the final Castlevania game I needed. I have every single one. There might be one on the PlayStation 2 that I don't have, but I have all of them now, and so that's really cool. And I played this quite a bit. Now, the big question is this one as good as a Super Castlevania 4? Which one do you like better? You know, I don't even know if I want to say. They're both pretty linear, and I tend to like the more, for lack of a better term, Metroidvania titles since Symphony of the Night. But I really do like it. I like that classic gameplay of Castlevania games, so it's really fun. All in all though, I think I got pretty good prices on everything, and I didn't spend as much as you would think. So I will say one more time, any of you out there, if you have a chance to go to Classic Gaming Expo in Vegas, or Portland Retro Gaming Expo, or the Vancouver show, or if you get a chance to go to MagFest in January, you've got to try one of these shows. You won't regret it. You're going to have the time of your life, meeting people, hanging out, doing great things, picking up great games, bringing them home, and having a blast with all the stuff you've picked up. So anyway, thank you for watching this series, and I hope you enjoyed it. I will talk to you all later. Till next time.